Your lease up might be done, but your investor isn't paying you for 90% occupancy. They're paying for stable, protected NOI year over year. A lot of PM firms think that their job stops at filling units. I see our job as protecting your cash flow promise to investors. Today, I'm showing you exactly how we do that in a way that makes your life easier and your investors' trust a whole lot stronger. If you're planning your PM partner conversation, save this for that meeting. It's a checklist you want them to actually know. We see this all the time. A project hits 90% leased, everyone celebrates, yay! Then NOI tanks 6 months later. Lease up, discounts, never get burned off. You have poor renewal and planning. Your maintenance cuts drive bad reviews and lost referrals. And then you have to explain to the owner those missed distributions and why their NOI has gone down. So let's talk about this just really quick. Our lease up discounts. We want to stop those discounts after the initial lease up. We don't want to constantly offer a incentive, or if we do, it's a minimal one just to get that site and that traction. When we're talking about poor renewal planning, that means we're not thinking about the end of the lease. We're not preparing for it at least 90 days in advance. And how are you going to incentivize that resident to renew? Then let's talk about maintenance. We need to make sure that things are getting done in a timely manner so that we're not making that end user, the resident, in a uncomfortable situation, whether they have lost water, where the heat or air conditioning, AC is a big one, and definitely don't want to have an issue with internet. So you always got to look at even driving, if those maintenance costs are being driven down, then what are you replacing them with? And then if you're going to explain to your owners why they've got a missed distribution on that or a higher expense, make sure you explain it. Make sure you're prepared for it. Stabilization isn't the win. The consistent NOI is. And that's where a great PM partner makes or breaks you. So we're going to get into section 2, the 3-part NOI protection system we deliver. So let's jump right in. Part 1, proactive renewal strategy. Leasing is easy if you'll give away the farm, but renewals are where you keep the margins. So what is a renewal incentive plan? Do you have this? Is this something that is in your book? You want to make sure that when it comes to the renewal strategy, that you have a plan in place. You want to have an annual rent increase with your competition, but you also can think about, hey, am I going to also offer an incentive for you to sign this lease early, but still getting your rent increase? You want to make sure that you have a plan for it. Then you have your resident communication and retention, which just means how engaged are you? Are you responding on time? Who is your forward face to that community? And are you retaining that relationship that wants them to renew? And then we're tracking the churn drivers. Why are people moving out? And we need to adjust from that. Is it their experience? Are they just moving just because they are done with their 12 months? What are we doing to track the whys that they're moving out and adjusting to those? So we're not just reaching out 90 days in advance and praying that we're going to get a renewal. We're planning for it. We're preparing for it. We're looking at the market and going after our residents to give them a market increase where is needed, depending on where the market's at. And we have a strategy to capture that. But it all plays in to their experience in the community. Hey, I know you're busy. Real quick, bookmark this, save it, text it to yourself, heck, even email it, just so you don't lose it. When you're planning your next PM meeting, don't just watch it. Save this in a place and share it with your team. Let's dive into part 2, the resident experience management. We discussed this a little bit in part 1, but let's dive in a little bit. The residents don't leave over $25 increase here. They leave over frustrations and experiences. So let's just talk about maintenance. What's our response time? Are we communicating as soon as a work order comes in? How are we helping the resident try to solve the problem and solutions instead of adding to it? So maintenance is typically at a very high point why people want to leave, because they're not getting the response in the timelines that they're looking for, or even the communication. Just because we can't get there today doesn't mean we can't communicate our response, what we're doing, and the timelines. And then the requests. How is that transparent tracking looking like? Are you giving live updates? Is your third party or your internal teams communicating that directly to the resident when they're going to be there and giving them a timeline? And do we have surveys and feedbacks that loop through for us to get information to see their experience that they had after that maintenance request? Consistent communications and standards play a huge part into that maintenance part of it, where people get the feel of, hey, I'm being taken care of, I'm being heard, and things are being finished out and completed, and they leave away happy. We reduce churn by actually making residents want to stay. Okay, one more critical piece, but before I get to it, I put together some really good resources for you over at my website, corybonner.com/gift. You'll find free tools and a case study of a project we stabilized. And if you don't have time right now, at least subscribe so I know you want me to keep making more content like this. So let's go over part 3, expense discipline and forecasting. Revenue is only half of the NOI equation. Let's talk about the operational costs and controls. It's that maintenance and staffing model that we've discussed many times in the past. So when we look and we build these budgets and these pro formas for these communities in these build to rent areas, are we actually following the budget we put in place before we started? Which means, is our maintenance on point? What adjustments do we have to make there? Is our staffing model on point? And what do we have to make and adjust there? Then we talk about like utility billing and the strategies of RUBS and sub-metering. Was that discussed early on? Even prior to stabilizing? Did we talk about how are we going to charge back the use case per unit? So utility billing and that strategy is a key point. Now, forecasting and updates to our variance tracking. So we want to forecast what it's going to look like in the next 3 and 6 months. So making sure that we have that variance tracking on what we're tracking and what's coming up and what needs to change and what are we adjusting for. And then when we come up with a budget for next year, all of those things factor in and your investor understands and knows it. You want to stick with that budget, but you also don't want to discount that renter satisfaction. So there's a really good play and an equal balance here. We don't just manage just the rent. It's up to us to help the owners manage that margin, that budget, and that pro forma. So I want to go over just a real world experience here. I've seen owners lose 6 figures in NOI because their PM just chased lease-ups but ignored the renewals and the expense side. So making sure that we keep good renters renting. That's what it is. Keep good renters renting, have a great experience in the community, track your budgets and your revenue streams, making sure that you can either add to it, remove areas that don't need it, and stick to those budgets while continuing to offer a great experience. I've also worked with partners who've nailed their pro forma for years because they had a plan baked in and they followed that budget and that pro forma T to T. It's not magic. It's a process of discipline, and it's your PM's job to do that. Let's go over the recap of the 3-part system. Number 1, proactive renewal strategy. Are you going into this with coming up with a plan when it's time to start renewing? You're leasing up, renewals are coming on the backside. So, do you have a plan in place for your renewals, and are you going to follow it? Number 2, the resident experience management. This just comes plain and simple. How is your residents' experience during their lease? Has it been a good one? Maintenance on time, good communication, great experience in the community. All of those factor in. And number 3, the expense discipline and forecasting. That means our teams have to be disciplined on the budgets that they have, stick within those, and then if we can, the goal is to go under budget. Making sure that we're staying within those budgets, but then forecasting if we have needs coming up. And are we adjusting the rents, the community to be able to handle that adjustment in that budget. So this is the system we deliver on every BTR community we manage. It's how we help owners keep investors happy and deals alive without micromanaging us. You don't need to micromanage your PM group. So I want you to save this video, share it with your team. And here's what I'd really appreciate. Leave me a quick comment with the single biggest NOI headache you want help with. Even one line tells me exactly what to cover next for you.